Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Live Lounge. So I'm back with the Live Lounge and it's currently in lockdown mode, so I'm doing interviews with fantastic people over Zoom to talk a little bit about current topics of interest so that we can inspire you and educate you a little bit and just share some information that could be vital for some people at the moment because we are going through very strange and difficult times. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about fatigue because I notice around me and I notice with myself as well that it can hit us quite suddenly. And a lot of people wonder, why am I so bloody tired when I'm just at home all the time? So I thought we'd discuss that. And also we're going to go into Mental Health Awareness Week. So I brought in Cara de Lange, who is the founder and CEO of Softer Success, which is also your book, Cara. Thank you for coming to the Live Lounge today.
Thank you, Mi. Thank you very much for having me.
You deal with a lot of issues around fatigue and burnout. That's what you do. Tell me more about how that works.
Yes, that's right. So I run a business called Softer Success where we help people prevent burnout. And we have a three-step strategy that we use to help people with that. So I go into companies and run sessions and now virtual sessions, and we look at boosting resilience. And yes, at the moment there is quite a bit of fatigue and people are there is a bit of working from home burnout coming up too. Which initially at the start of lockdown was very exciting for people, not exciting, but it was, felt more relaxing to be at home. However, over time, people are ending up working longer hours and there are other things going on. So there is the possibility of working from home burnout. So I come in and help people to not do that.
And this fatigue, I guess there's so many underlying stress factors in our life right now. So it can cause that hidden stress to cause this reaction, right?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what happened at the beginning, so a couple of months ago, is that people went into this, it was, a stress alert and high fear, so into the sympathetic nervous system. And now it's sort of calmed down a little bit, but there's still this underlying fear that is nagging at people, which is, am I going to be secure in my job? What's going to happen with my business? What's going to happen with my health? What are the next steps? It's uncertainty, and this is causing a lot of fear. So it's actually what we like to call situational stress. It's situational stress that we're going through at the moment, and that's a stress that people feel like they don't have any control over. And so the best thing at the moment to do is to take control of the things that you actually can, which is looking after your mind and your body. So the fatigue, I think, really comes from worry. And so worry together with feeling of unknown and also exposure to television, into exposure to what's happening with the virus. So these three things are all coming together and it can cause exhaustion. So we're being distracted as well. So we're having all these different things coming at us at the same time. And because of that, we are going into more of a feeling exhausted. So I always like to give people tips, and what we're working on at the moment in some of the places, businesses that I'm working with, is really making sure that we're helping people setting their boundaries around technology, and specifically also really looking to taking care of what they can look after, take control of what they can.
That's really good advice. I mean, the technology and that constant news feed and the updates we get, it's really, really tiring. And also, I think, frustrating and quite annoying sometimes, because obviously people have different opinions and they want to air their opinion. And everyone knows so much about a topic that we actually don't know that much about, which can be really I find it really annoying when people are so absolutely convinced about things when not even the scientists know what's going on.
And it's so true. And yeah, so actually, what I'm advising people to do is to take a break from our constant COVID-19 news and updates. So take a break from it for a day. Don't look at the news and do something completely different. Try to switch off, because what I'm seeing happening is people are maybe working longer hours, they're at home, and then at night time, because we're, our technology is helping us staying connected with people, but then there is even more going on potentially, because you want to stay in touch with people socially as well. So we're on our screens a lot of the time, and then in between people are scrolling and just checking social media and news. So we're having constant really brain prompts the whole time, so our brain is not really taking much time to relax and disconnect.
Plus, a lot of people have kids at home as well that need homeschooling and a partner, and have to cook several times a day and care about their parents. So what is it, very quickly, can you explain a little bit about what actually happens in our brains when we are stressed and why it's so bad for the body?
So we were designed to be in our, have just a short fight or flight, which is what happens when our stress response is triggered. Our cortisol levels rise, and we were, so imagine you had to run away or fight the lion. This was supposed to be a short period of time, and what's happened to us over time is that we are under this prolonged stress, this chronic stress, and it's this chronic stress that has a really bad effect on us. So that's why at the moment we're at home and we have this extra stress. So our self-care and looking after ourselves is more crucial than ever. And what I'm suggesting to people are sort of quick tips, like take breaks every 90 minutes. Even from the Zoom fatigue that people are having, this is a quick one you could do with me now, actually. If you're feeling fatigued from the Zoom and you've been on screens all the time, one of the good things you can do is actually just move away from your screen. Don't stay sitting, but look away, and then blink consciously about 10 or 15 times. So make sure you're looking away from your screen and consciously blink. So there's this thing of your eyes can become dry.
Yeah. So we're actually developing a new concept of Zoom fatigue. What do you know? Well, yeah, that's a great tip, I think, because a lot of people do a lot of meetings and networking and also chatting to friends and family. So that's a really good advice to get your eyes going again. Now, I'm going to move on into the Mental Health Awareness Week, which starts as of tomorrow when we air this video. And this is a concept that has been around for quite a while, but why do we actually need to have a Mental Health Awareness Week, in your opinion?
Well, I still think that we're chipping away at the mental health taboo, however, that it hasn't been completely crushed. There is still a taboo there, even though we've had some great leaders and amazing people speaking up about their mental health. There is still a taboo, and the CRPD, has done research on it. And on average, when people are calling sick for work, they're not going to state that it's because they are feeling mentally unwell or anxious or whatever it is they're going through. They're going to say something that may potentially be a physical problem. So it's still there as a taboo. People are worried about how they may be perceived. They're concerned they may still lose their jobs. So this Awareness Week is really important, but not only because of we need to get rid of the taboo, but also to be more aware of our mental health. And at Softer Success, we talk a lot about, so we look at preventing burnout, and one of our ethoses is knowledge is power. So the more that you know about burnout, and the more that you know about your mental health, and you're aware of your mental health, the better equipped you are to prevent burnout, and the better equipped you are to manage your mental health. So it's all about knowledge, and that's why I think the Awareness Week is really good. Because number one, it's tackling the taboo, and number two, it's also helping people to understand more about themselves, and also to be able to be aware of what could happen.
Absolutely. And I think we come from previous generations, and also the corporate climate has been very much around, if you don't have a fever, you're not sick, get on with it, right? You can't take a day off because you're feeling unbalanced mentally, which is equally important, and it could cause more long-term effect as well, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And especially during this pandemic. I mean, the World Economic Forum presented an article a few weeks ago about how there could be a secondary knock-on effect post this lockdown, 3 to 6 months down the line, where there could be people going through burnout, and there could be more absenteeism just because of the effects of now, which is why we actually do need to take action now and look at ways and how we can look after our mental health as much as possible. And there are some companies out there that are doing that. You know, I mean, last week Google announced that they are giving all of their employees a prevent burnout work from home day in May. So they, you know, they're aware, and there are many companies that are aware, but we need to get more of this going now as much as possible. And you know, if you're yourself, you know, there are many things that you can just do, and I'll share some tips with you in a minute about what people could do during this mental health Awareness Week for themselves and for others.
And not to mention all doctors and healthcare workers. There will be post-traumatic stress disorders that we need to look after and put aside money for, because they are at war, aren't they? It's the same thing. So I think we are looking at a lot of where we need to look after our people in the future, long term, that's for sure. So how do you think UK, or United Kingdom, compares to other countries in respect to you calling it a taboo to talk about mental health issues? How are we doing here?
I think there have been really good movements here in the UK. I think to some aspects we're ahead of some other countries, but then on the other hand, some other countries are also more advanced. So there's a really good movement, but more work still needs to be done. You know, we need to get to where we're at a level where businesses are more human and we're dealing in a more human way. And I think we're already seeing some of that coming through in some leadership actually now during the COVID-19 crisis, but in general, like that's why I started Soft to Success, because not only to help prevent people from burnout, but also this passion that I have to help us all be a little bit more human, you know, and kinder.
I am so happy you're doing that, and I love just the name Softer Success, because I think we can see now that it works as well. That you can be compassionate, but you can still make things happen.
Absolutely,
the softer view of things. So let's hear your tips, please, Cara, on how we can just go about feeling more balanced and not go into burnout.
Yeah, so I want to focus a little bit on the theme of Mental Health Awareness Week, which is kindness. And so kindness, so we can actually help ourselves a lot by our own mental health by, number one, being kind to others. So this may be a nice week to just give that person that you haven't, you know, heard of for a while, or you haven't been in touch with for a while, or, you know, show your neighbor an act of kindness. But also we're talking about being kind to your mind. So some tips that people could do is, you know, start maybe every day off with a positive affirmation. So when you get up in the morning, saying, today I feel joyful and I am peaceful. So that's a good one. And make sure that you are doing reframing stress as well. So I really recommend people to journal at this time. I'm doing a lot of that myself. So we're on an emotional roller coaster, but any stresses that you felt during the day, or worries or concerns that you may have, write them down and then reframe them. And this in the evening is often a good time to do this, or in the early morning. So that's tip number 2. So use your positive affirmations and your journaling. And then finally, I would, we know it's very well known, but do throughout the day continue to take your deep breaths, and when you are feeling really fatigued and tired, acknowledge that and accept that, and it may not be the right time to push through. So pushing through I'm not a fan of anyway, but it may be the time to just say, I'm going to take 10 minutes, I'm going to take half an hour, and I'm actually just going to practice maybe a meditation, or I'm going to use it to go out for a gentle walk, or anything that is going to energize you in the right way. So I'd say those would be my 3 tips. But yes, kind to your mind. So really turn down that inner critic as well. And I tend to recommend positive affirmations to kickstart that.
That's fabulous.
Yes.
Really good advice.
I hope that's helping.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we are becoming more aware of what we need to do, but it's giving you permission, yourself permission to do it as well, isn't it?
Permission is incredibly important. And at Softer Success, we talk a lot about that, saying, you know, I think what's coming up now for a lot of people is purpose and meaning, you know. So maybe it's an interesting time to, I mean, I've got kids at home, so I also know that if people are busy or have kids at home, or if you are working in a job that's gotten particularly busy, there may be less time for that. But, you know, I'm 5 minutes a day to just reframe the stress, and maybe write down the things that are meaningful for you at the moment, and things that you'd like to focus on finding purpose in the future. So it's a nice change.
And why not do that with your kids as well? It's probably really
exactly
valuable for them.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the live lounge today, Cara. It's
lovely. Thank you for having me.
And where can people find you if they want to contact you?
Yeah, so I'm at www.softersuccess.com, or even just look up Cara de Lange, Cara at softersuccess.com. At the moment, I'm offering people a free session, so a free session to help them get them sort of back on track, and any tips that I can share. So feel free for your people watching, if they want to get in touch with me.
Oh, that's wonderful. And of course, you have the book as well. Is that available on Amazon or from your website?
It is, yes. Softer Success is on Amazon. So it's on Amazon, Waterstones, Barnes & Noble in the US. And yes, again, these are tips that will help. It's a very easy to read book. Currently, we've reduced the rate for people on Kindle as well, so that, you know, anybody can access it. And if you're a busy working mom out there, then this is probably the right book for you.
All right. Well, look after yourself. Stay safe. And thank you to the viewers who watched this episode. I hope that you could take something from it to feel more balanced during this lockdown period and calm your stress. And we'll be talking more about the topic of mental health during the week, because it is Mental Health Awareness Week. And if you have any questions or any comments, of course, just put them in the comment box below, and we're happy to step in and refer or answer as much as possible. But I'll be back here again next week with a new live lounge. Until then, lots of love, and I'll see you. Bye for now.